can't stop thinking about him, and somewhere, right now, something is shifting inside of him too. That thought you keep having, wondering if he feels any of it, wondering if you cross his mind the way he crosses yours. That thought is not random. That thought is not weakness. Psychology tells us something powerful is happening beneath the surface, and it is not one-sided. When a woman's thoughts return to someone again and again with that kind of quiet, aching persistence, it sends something into the world that is almost impossible for him to ignore. This is not wishful thinking. This is not something you should talk yourself out of. What you are feeling right now, that pull, that loop, that inability to fully let go, it has a psychological name and it has a psychological effect. Not just on you, on him. You have been told to move on. You have been told to stop checking his profile. You have been told that you are overthinking it, but no one tells you what is actually happening to him on the other side of your silence. No one explains the three things that begin to unfold inside a man when a woman he has known, truly known, deeply known, cannot stop thinking about him. Let's change that right now. The first thing that happens to him is that he begins to feel a presence he cannot explain. Human beings are not isolated systems. We are wired for connection in ways that go far deeper than phone calls and text messages. When your thoughts turn to someone with intensity, when you replay a conversation, when you imagine his voice, when you feel the weight of something unfinished, that energy does not simply stay inside you. It radiates. It creates what psychologists who study emotional resonance call a field of attention. And the person at the center of that attention, even from a distance, often begins to register it at a subconscious level. You have probably experienced this yourself. You think about someone you haven't spoken to in weeks, and then your phone lights up with their name. You dismiss it as coincidence. But the science of emotional attunement tells us that people who were once deeply connected continue to pick up signals from each other that our conscious minds cannot fully articulate. When you cannot stop thinking about him, he begins to feel a restlessness he cannot pin down. He finds himself reaching for his phone without knowing why. He finds himself pausing mid-conversation, mid-task, mid-thought, as if something is nudging him. He does not know it is you, but something in him knows. There is a pull he cannot name, and the more you think of him, the less he is able to fully shake it. That is the first thing happening to him right now. The second thing that happens is that your memory becomes more vivid inside him. When a woman holds a man in her thoughts with this kind of emotional depth, she is not just missing him. She is illuminating him. The memories he has of you become more vivid, more detailed, more emotionally charged. A smell reminds him, a song reminds him, a moment of quiet reminds him, and suddenly he is not just remembering you as a person, he is remembering how he felt when he was with you. This is one of the most important things psychology shows us about human memory. We do not remember people as photographs. We remember them as feelings. When the emotional connection between two people is real and deep, those feelings do not simply fade because time passes or distance grows. They compress, they deepen, and they resurface with a force that surprises even him. He is not thinking about you because you reached out. He is not thinking about you because anything happened. He is thinking about you because the emotional imprint you left inside him is being activated by your focus on him. Your longing is lighting up his memory of who you were together. He might not act on it. He might scroll past the impulse and go back to his day, but the feeling is there. And every time it comes back, it becomes a little harder to dismiss. The second thing happening to him right now is that you are becoming impossible to forget. Not because of what you say, but because of what you feel. The third thing that happens is that he begins to question what he let go. There is a psychological phenomenon called the re-evaluation loop, and it begins quietly. when a man cannot shake thoughts of a woman, when her presence keeps returning to him in ways he didn't invite and can't explain. His mind starts a review process. He starts mentally returning to the moments that mattered. He starts comparing what he has now to what he had then. He starts asking himself questions he thought he had already answered. Was it worth it? Was he right? Did he miss something? Does she still think about him? He may not admit this to anyone. He may not even fully admit it to himself. But the questions are forming, and those questions have a way of growing in the silence. The universe sometimes works this way, not loudly, not dramatically, but through the quiet accumulation of doubt and longing that builds when something true was left incomplete. This is not manipulation. This is not a strategy. You are not doing anything to him. You are simply feeling something real, and real feelings leave real impressions. The third thing happening to him right now is that he is beginning to wonder, and wondering is where everything changes. Now here is what no one tells you about yourself in all of this. You deserve to know that the depth of what you feel is not a flaw. You deserve to know that your heart's inability to simply switch off and move on is not weakness. It is evidence of your capacity for genuine connection. Your worth is not measured by whether he comes back or stays away. Your worth is not measured by whether he acts on what he is feeling or suppresses it. You were never too much. You were never too emotional. You were never the problem for feeling deeply in a world that rarely rewards it. Loving someone with this kind of quiet persistence, thinking of them not to chase them, not to win them, but simply because they meant something. That is a rare and beautiful thing. It belongs to people who have not closed their hearts off in self-protection. It belongs to people who still believe that what they feel matters. It belongs to you. Your feelings are valid. Your thoughts are not crazy. What you are experiencing right now is one of the most deeply human things a person can go through. And the three things happening to him, that restlessness, that vivid memory, that quiet reevaluation, they are a reflection of something real that existed between you, with something that does not simply disappear because circumstances made it difficult. You are not alone in this, and you are not powerless in it either. You are simply someone who feels everything all the way without apology. And that is not something the world should ask you to change. If this reached something real inside you, something you have been carrying quietly and alone, hit that like button and become part of the Psychology Wisdom family. Subscribe so the next insight finds you before you even knew you were searching for it. You deserve to feel understood every single day.